Welcome to COIS ADMN 1620, Introduction to Information Systems. This is the office hours for October the 8th. It is now about 1:03 p.m. I'm going to make an exception given that it's the Thanksgiving weekend. Normally, if I don't have any attendance, any live attendance, I just will not bother recording it. I am going to just do a brief recording here. Want to hit the high points, and I want to talk about the discussion that has just been handed in. So going back to what I talk about every single time, there are still people that have not done the mandatory course requirements. I'm not going to belabor that anymore. You can watch any of the other office hours to get details. If you have not done that, that's why you're not seeing the quizzes. However, you should still be seeing the practices. They are available to you, and the discussions are available to you. I would caution anyone that's watching this, particularly if you haven't watched one before, that you need to read the syllabus. You need to go through the course content folder and see what the requirements are. I strongly recommend watching previous office hours to figure out what is required of you. There are probably still about 10% of the class that have absolutely no marks, but yet I see that they're signing on to Blackboard. So I'm not sure what that's about. Some of them have done the mandatory course requirements and should be seeing everything. There seems to be ongoing confusion, and I've explained this previously, the difference between Chapter 2 and Module 2, so or whichever chapter you want to pick. So if you look in the course content, it lays it out specifically as it does in the syllabus. Module 1 was chapters 1 and 2. Module 2 is chapters 3, 4, and Tech Guide 1. Module 3 is 5 and 6 and Tech Guide 2, and so forth. So when you're asking me about you can't see the quiz for chapter 2, well, that was module 1, which was a long time ago. So please take a look and understand how the course works before asking me those questions and before sacrificing any more marks. At this point, even though the marks haven't been released for discussion 1, which is worth 6%, you have attained potentially up to 21%. So you will see in display in your My Grades, the first 15%. We will release the marks for the discussion probably by Wednesday of the next week, which will give you an entire week to review the feedback. Please do that, and that will allow you to do better potentially in discussion 2. So we will have very specific feedback, and not only will you see the marks broken down by the rubric, but you'll see the comments as to what went wrong. As we progress through the course, discussion 2 will have very good feedback. Discussions 3 and 4 will just be marks. And that's just based on experience, that if someone's not reading the feedback from the first couple discussions, they're not likely to bother reading it from the third. And so we just minimize the feedback as we get towards the end of the discussions. So just to clarify more about the discussions, there are 2 questions within one discussion. So there's not 2 questions. There's not 2 places to answer the questions. There's just the one. So you have to break your answer into question 1 and 2 and submit it that way. I did have a number of students reach out and say I was only 30 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever the lateness period was. And I've made my expectations very clear. The Blackboard says at 11:59:00 that's the due date. And if you're at 11:59:01, it's late. I don't know what arbitrary line that I can draw to say it's within a minute. If I said if it's within a minute late, then it's not late. Then the people that are 1 minute and 2 seconds late are bothering me to give them a break. So I just draw the line in the sand. When it's due, it's due. I don't accept late submissions. So I've said that before, but I'll say it again for students that may not have bothered to watch those office hours, may not have read the syllabus or realized when I said no late submissions are accepted that I actually meant it. So the ones that I've seen of the discussion has sort of a wide variety. Some people actually read the requirements and follow it and did very, very well. Other people didn't bother to cite, didn't bother to do references, whatever. So your marks will reflect how closely you followed the instructions, and hopefully you can learn from the feedback that's provided and do better next time. The discussions are worth a lot. 24% of your final mark is going to be discussions, so they're worth spending the time to do. On that note, you have every right to hand in anything you want at 11:59:00, but you're taking a big risk. I've had various students tell me how their internet hiccuped or whatever. That's not my problem. That's the risk you take by handing things in at the last minute. We've got each module is a 2-week module. Get some of it done. Work your way through, get some of this stuff done so that you're not on Wednesday night at almost midnight trying to cram it in, and you're at the mercy of the volume of traffic on the internet, on your internet connection, on anything like that. You're not at the mercy of a power outage or whatever. Get organized, plan your 2 weeks out, and don't do it all at the last minute. That's my advice. You have every right to do it last minute if that's what you want to do, but I don't want to hear about how your internet failed you and it delayed you by 15 seconds and now you're 3 seconds late and I won't mark it. So on a more positive note, I hope you guys all have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time off, and we've got another round of things due coming from this module. So please be aware of the timelines. Please check in the syllabus and the course content folder and make sure that you know what's due and when. And there's some people that are doing really, really well in this course that are almost perfect in the course, maybe a couple tenths of a mark off. So it's very possible in this course, as I've said from the beginning, if you put the effort in, to do very, very well. If you haven't submitted much at this point, like I've talked to students that have 3 out of 21 at this point, or 2.6 or 2.9 out of 21, we will have the all-important drop date coming, the course withdrawal deadline, and you need to probably make a hard decision whether you can achieve the mark that you need, whether you want a crappy mark on your transcript, or whether you want to withdraw and try this course again. Yeah, if you go much longer than this, it's going to be really, really hard to get a decent mark at all, much less pass. Some people, I think, are required to get about a 60% mark in this course. So that's going to be increasingly hard. I think once we get through this next week, we'll be at 36% of the marks in. So that's an awful big chunk of the marks. And I may have said week, I meant module. Once we get through this module, we'll be at 36% of the marks in at that point. So do reach out if you have questions. I'm happy to answer questions, but please do make sure that you've checked the available materials, including these office hours, to see if you can find the questions on your own. That's the expectation as university students, that you can do some research on your own and figure things out, and that I'm not being asked questions that I've already covered in office hours, in the syllabus, or in other venues. Yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot else to say other than, again, have a good Thanksgiving and reach out to me as you need. Take care.